Autonomy usually means the right to make decisions for oneself. That's when we say Palestinian autonomy. But what Piaget meant was something else. For him, it's not the right to make decisions, but the ability to make decisions in two realms. In the moral realm, it's about what's right and what's wrong. And in the intellectual realm, it's about what is true and what is not true. By taking relevant factors into account, independently of reward and punishment.
Nós vamos nos colocar como se nós estivéssemos durante a Guerra Fria. E durante a Guerra Fria nós vimos os processos que ocorreram e nós conhecemos a história do capitalismo e a história do socialismo. E aí?
Eu escolhi. Agora eu estou vendo assim quais são os lados bons de um e do outro.
A very strong example of moral autonomy is Martin Luther King, when everybody thought that it was okay to discriminate against black people. Martin Luther King took everything into account and came to the conclusion that the laws discriminating against blacks were immoral and unjust. And so he started to fight against these discriminatory laws. And the police was brutal. They even used dogs and water hoses and put him in jail. And so in spite of all that punishment, each time he came out of jail, he started to fight again. And so that's an example of having the autonomous conviction about what's right and what's wrong, independently of reward and punishment. The strong example of intellectual autonomy is Copernicus. And when everybody, including all the scientists, believed that the sun was going around the earth, Copernicus came up with the idea that no, it was the other way around, that it was the earth that was going around the sun. And everybody, including the scientists of his times, laughed at him and thought that was the most ridiculous thing that they had ever heard. And they did not even let Copernicus finish his lectures. But he remained convinced that his theory was true. And that's an example of intellectual autonomy. Schools, for example, very strongly believe in reward and punishment. Everything runs in schools, I think, in opposition to the development of autonomy. Teachers, they usually make all the decisions and all the rules and use reward and punishment to enforce these rules. They think that using reward and punishment is the right educative principle. And so schools go on to reinforce children's heteronomy. And by the way, heteronomy means the opposite of autonomy, and it means to be controlled by somebody else's decisions, and also to be obedient to authority, blind obedience. And usually that is considered to be the moral thing to do. So there's a morality of blind obedience and the morality of autonomy. The same behavior can be motivated by fear of punishment. For example, a child or an adult who tells the truth because he or she is afraid of punishment, that's